On October 5th of 2020, I got sober for what I pray, hope, and work very hard to make the last time. I'm a recovering alcoholic. I'm someone who has a shitty, dangerous, tumultuous relationship with alcohol. And it trickles into other behaviors and aspects of my life. But my DOC, my drug of choice, was alcohol. That was the substance that was my cure-all for everything, good or bad, since I can remember. And I've been pretty open about that on this channel. And we haven't talked about it for a while, so I want to give you guys an update on how I'm doing 10 months sober. The good, the bad, some really sad aspects of it. But first and foremost, I am sober. Emotionally sober as well. And when I say emotionally sober, I just mean that as of today, my behavior and my thought processes and my actions reflect my new life, my new goals, my new wants, my new stability. There's congruency in what I think I want, who I think I am, and the way I'm acting and behaving. So if I were to be emotionally unsober or have relapsed, which I did for a split second in this 10 months, I would be acting, thinking, and behaving in a way that was very similar to when I was drinking minus the alcohol. So it's really good news. I'm really happy to be certain that for today I'm good. I'm living and behaving and thinking in a way that reflects who I think I am, who I want to be, and what I say is important to me. It's been a crazy 10 months. It really has. For anyone who is on this sober journey like I am, in this recovery life journey, just know that I'm always thinking about you. I'm always rooting for you. My heart grows extraordinarily empathetic when I think about people trying to live life without their drug of choice and learn how to live life on life's terms and learn how to negotiate and navigate so many thoughts and feelings and life experiences and potential triggers without their eject button, right? Which for me was alcohol. It is not easy at times. I think it's incredibly rewarding. I think it's incredibly important. It's worth it. But it's not always easy, particularly in the early days, and even more so if you don't have support, if you're going it alone. One of the most fundamental aspects of me and my addiction was loneliness and isolation and solitude. It's just something that became normal. I wanted to drink alone. I wanted to be alone. I would later learn why that was from a neurological perspective in addiction education, but just there was something poetic and romantic to me about getting drunk all by myself all the time, and that sort of being all I wanted and all I thought I needed at the time. And that love lust disappears and that romance turns volatile and dangerous. And so I know that it's really hard to go at recovery alone, much like I tried to go at my drinking alone. The two don't mix the same. So I have a lot of support, and I just have so much love and support for you if you're trying to get sober or not. Wherever you're at in your journey, just know that you're welcome and wanted. And I'm rooting for everyone who knows that their life is meant for more and who knows that there is more to life than just getting annihilated all the time. Or hell, there's also a quiet, desperate group of people that aren't getting annihilated all the time, but they are definitely numbing out and staying in like a zombie-like state of partial inebriation all the time. Can't be sure where I was going with all that, but let's talk about sobriety. Let's talk about what's been going good first and foremost. I have stayed active in my recovery in one way or another this whole 10 months. So for me, that looks like 12-step meetings. For me, that looks like working with my sponsor. I'm a big fan of diversifying my recovery experience. So I listen to a lot of cool podcasts. The main one I listen to is called Recovery Elevator. It's wonderful. You get to hear testimony and some just really cool inspirational messaging on recovery. Sometimes they include spiritual and philosophical things. Other times there's a lot of science-driven things. And then most importantly, you get to hear other people's stories. I don't know about you, but identification for me keeps me from thinking I'm particularly special in a way that could be harmful. It keeps me from thinking I'm so unique that ... right? No one could understand me. I'll never be where someone else is. The death by comparison thing really comes up a lot for me. So hearing people's stories and then understanding the value and sharing my own keeps me grounded, and it keeps me focused on what I have in common with people. So I love testimony, and I find a lot of benefit from listening to Recovery Elevator. So that's a big part of my recovery. I do the spiritual reading every morning from an email subscription I have called Jesus is Calling. And it's just like puts passages from the Bible into modern day language and kind of starts my day off well. Yeah, I'm working through the steps. I'm making amends right now, and I think that's going really, really well. So it's been really cool. This whole round of sobriety, I've allowed myself, and I've been going to Treehouse. Let's go, baby. So I graduated from a 5-month, very intense but amazing rehab program called Treehouse Recovery here in Portland. They also have some facilities in Costa Mesa. And I do weekly online group meetings with alumni. So I get to talk to some of the men that took me through the program. I get to continue to reflect and process my thoughts and my feelings, which all helps keep me grounded, which all helps keep me not just physically sober, but emotionally sober. What I was going to say, though, is that this round of recovery, I've done a really good job at not making sobriety this dogmatic experience. I grew up in 12-step rooms historically. And I had this idea of what sobriety had to be. And what's been really cool is that I have found a way, by listening first and foremost to leadership and just learning from other people's experience, to incorporate a lot of different aspects of sobriety and recovery and what it means to discover this life without my drug of choice from Treehouse. So I have like the Treehouse program, which is so important to me. And I have those groups that I attend. And I have my podcasts that are really important to me. And I have my daily reflections and my 12-step and my sponsor and some meetings that I go to. And I kind of have created a custom recovery program for myself. And I've been encouraged to do so, which is something that historically was really hard for me. Really, really hard for me, because I thought if I wasn't doing it a certain way or partaking in specific actions in a certain way that I was bad, I was wrong, it was never going to work. It played into some negative self-image stuff. And so I'm really excited to say that I have found a recovery style and program that is working pretty well for me today. And I'm just going to keep doing it. I'm going to gently observe the thoughts that just are constantly spinning around like, you're doing it wrong, you're not doing enough. Be calm, be clear, and just keep moving ahead. So my recovery life remains, and it's really important. There has been some harder things as well, and but the harder things that have come up in sobriety have been things that they talk about, we know are coming, which is just life events. And it's hard in the sense that life has continued to happen, and a few things have gone on in my life that I would normally turn to drinking to escape, to cope, to soothe myself. Namely, there's been some tragedy that has happened in my time sober, a lot of it surrounding brothers in recovery who aren't doing well. And that's been really sad. And that's been really hard for me because, relapse is a big part of my story. And I've just had some brothers relapse. And a little over a week ago, I had someone incredibly close to me, someone I love, and someone I'm going to think about for the rest of my life, die of an overdose. And I'm really fucking sad about that. And it was the first time that I wanted to drink. It's the first time drinking popped in my head as a knee-jerk reaction, as a kickback gut reaction, like, nope, not doing this, not thinking this, not feeling this, no. But then I paused and I talked about it instantly, and I took it for what it was, which was just a fleeting response to a sudden sadness that just washed over me and hasn't entirely gone away. And I wouldn't expect it to so fast, but that's the part of addiction that is scary. That's the part of addiction that's so final. I talk about the death of me in addiction, and I always have discussed that I think we all die in phases if we're lost in addiction. I think a part of what was my death experience was that I wasn't my true self anymore, and I lost my free will once I got to a certain degree of addiction. And so I wasn't choosing to drink anymore at the end of my addiction. I had a brain that was rampantly seeking alcohol for survival, and I had an emotional imbalance and a sensitivity and a volatility inside that was helpless without it, so to speak. And so I always talk about like the death of your true self, but there's also the death of your physical body that can happen. And the person that died, and I want to protect his anonymity, he was too young, and it's not right. And I don't think he should be gone, and I'm angry and sad, and I'm trying to feel my feelings and process my thoughts and talk about it, reach out to people and be a better friend to them and hear them, and I'm doing all those things, but I'm just sad about it. Now, I do think I'm going to be able to leverage the loss of this person to bolster my sobriety. I do think I'm going to be able to be a more mindful friend to other people who are struggling with addiction, and really stay on top of my relationships even more, because you never really know what other people are going through. And if you're an addict or an alcoholic, the consequence of losing your stability, the consequence of losing your path, the potential consequence of not staying sober physically and emotionally can ultimately be death. And I'm fucking angry about that, and I'm sad about that. And I'm trying to use that as fuel to control what I can, be kind and loving to other people, and to never lose sight of what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. So that's been the extremely sad part about this, is that multiple people have relapsed that I just love and care about, that I've had to set boundaries with, obviously, to protect myself. And now we've lost someone, or I've lost someone who just means a lot to me. And I want to show you his picture, and I want to tell you his name, and I want you to see him and see pictures of us and videos of us, but it's just not my place, and it wouldn't be appropriate. But I'll pray for his soul, and I'll pray for his family forever. He was a good person. And I just want everyone to know who he is, because he helped me a lot in my recovery this time. He was very important to me. But you know what? I can do hard things. I can experience sad thoughts and feelings without escaping them. I can be present. And so let's talk about more of the good of sobriety. The good about sobriety, especially this time around, is that I'm a more caring, loving, conscious, capable person sober this time. I'm reliable. I'm consistent. I'm dependable. I'm thorough. I'm responsible, and I can show up for myself, and I can show up for people. One of the things that has been so incredible is like really processing and coming to terms with the superpowers God gave me when I'm sober and in my right state of mind. I'm just so much more capable than I ever was as a drinker to just be here and do things for myself and for others, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, socially, physically, monetarily, all those things. I love this version of me, and it's been really, really exciting to see what I can do, and to see what other people can do, and to really see other people. And I love that. I'm a good person, and I'm a kind person, and I'm a hardworking person, and I'm a creative person, and I'm a thoughtful person, and there's so many good qualities about me that I just didn't believe in my addiction. I really didn't. Because my behavior would override these thoughts I had about my true self, and my ability to relate to this idea of myself, who I wanted to be, who I thought I might be, just dissipated with so much consistent, manipulative, lying, self-centered, self-driven, ego-driven, addicted, drunken, hungover behavior. I was in that space for so long that I lost sight of me, and I lost sight of what I really thought of myself, or what was real and what was fake. And one of the coolest things about staying sober this long, granted, no, I'm not going to double back on that. Being sober and working on recovery and living this recovery life for 10 months is a big fucking deal. It's a long time for a guy like me who couldn't get out of a single day before getting sober. One of the cool things is I've earned credibility back with myself. Something that just takes time, consistency, and effort. I've earned credibility back with myself. I am a good person. You know, I believe it now. I do work hard. Look at me go. I listen and care about others. Look at how I feel for them. Look at how my empathy runs deep inside me. Look how I show that love to people. I've been able to do things that drunk me never could, never would, but always wanted to, long enough to start to believe that this is who I really am. And that's a huge gift of sobriety. It's a reaffirming gift of sobriety. It's something that makes me want to stay. Just stay right here and see what happens next. There's mystery to my life again in a positive way. There's excitement. There's wonder. There was none of that at the end of my drinking. There was just getting through the day, detoxing, to then get drunk again, to get that relief, to get that connection with my drink, to then pass out, to then suffer throughout the day, mentally, emotionally, and physically, to then drink again. My world got really small. And presently, my world is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's really, really cool. That's a really good thing about sobriety. That's something that I love, that I'm excited about. My days have never gone by so smoothly. My self-image has never been this good. Not without issues, of course, not without moments of confusion or despair or insecurities and things like that. But the general consensus within myself is that I love myself and that I'm excited for my life again. And I don't want to take it for granted. So it's been really, really good in that way. I am coming up on, one day at a time, knock on wood, a year. Historically, a year has been a trigger point for me, but I think I can navigate it one day at a time with support and with help. I've got people that know this about me, and I'm doing things differently this time. I'm having a little bit of faith that this is now and that was then. So I'm just trying to navigate all this and then remember to enjoy my life. There's that little imposter in me that says, you don't deserve to have this life. Things shouldn't be this good. This isn't fair for other people, for you to be enjoying your life so much. And I squash that really well these days. I've learned a lot about being like my own parent, my best possible parent to myself, and treating myself in a way that I would always expect others to treat me with, right? Or how I would always treat another person. I'm really good at talking to myself with love and respect. I'm good at putting myself in check most of the time, and I'm really good at taking feedback from people. So I'm doing a good job, I think, in general in sobriety, and I'm loving sobriety, and I'm grateful, and I'm working as hard as I know how to work at keeping this and giving it away. That's like the next step for me, is getting through the steps and giving it away to as many people as I possibly can in order to keep it. Sobriety's going good. It's life, but I have a cool life. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's pretty solid. I think that's pretty sound. I think that's what's going on in my life today. I think that's about all I can think to catch you guys up on as far as recovery goes. Being sober is like having mental, emotional, and physical superpowers compared to being a drunk. And I'm only comparing me to previous me, not to you or anything like that. That poor guy, like me, like in my addiction, he wasn't able to do much. Food now tastes really good. Friendships now are very stimulating, hormonally speaking. Things that never could feel good before feel amazing now. And I want to fight to hold on to that. And I'm just really excited to see what's next. And I don't ever want to go back. So that's my life update as far as 10 months sober. I shared as much of the good as I could possibly think. I love my routine. I love my simple little sober life, and I love chasing my dreams. I love having dreams again about my future. I didn't have those. Those had completely gone away. I was talking to my mom, and I was like, drinkers and druggers like me, when we're in our addiction, we are dreamers. We're not doers. All the things I wanted to do with my life and the person I was going to become and the people I would meet and the experiences I would have, they were just dreams that I couldn't turn into reality. And sober Noah kicks fucking ass. Sober Noah turns those thoughts into reality and wants as many people as possible to live out their dreams too. So that's really good. I don't know if I mentioned like all the bad of sobriety. I don't think there is a bad of sobriety, really. Like, what's the bad in this? No, it's just life. There's just some life things that you do have to experience and feel that that you don't get to just escape from. But I'm getting fairly familiar with how to do that. So it's more of like a play on words. And then the sad is what I said. Rest in peace to my sweet friend. Rest in peace to him. Okay. Thank you guys for being here with me. Thank you for sharing some time with me. Please let me know how your recovery journey is going. If it is, just know that if you're sober, if you're not sober, you're safe here. It's a good spot for you. I certainly don't judge anybody. And I want to hear about your life, and I'd love to hear about how your recovery journey is going. What things are you working through that are going well? What things are hard, and what do you think you can do about them? It has not been perfect, but it's been completely sober, and that makes it all good for me. And yeah, my parting thought with you as far as what do I think, let's end it with this. What I think has been the most effective thing and the most useful thing in my sobriety this time around is staying connected with people in sobriety and in recovery. Historically, I would get sober and eventually find a way to kind of do it on my own. So far, I've stayed connected to my sponsor. I've stayed connected to my sobriety team. I've stayed connected to other people, right? And to recovery programs. I've stayed connected so that if my thoughts or my behaviors start to wander, the group, the energy, the unification of thought and want, it all pulls me back in and keeps me on track. I had a moment 2 or 3 weeks ago where I did get a little lost mentally, and I was sort of thinking in old behavior patterns, and I had some people who were in my circle pull me in. So the most important thing so far for me has been staying connected, really connected to sobriety, recovery, and my primary purpose. And I'll keep doing that. I appreciate you guys. I am officially starting my ramble, which is my cue to go. And I just wish you so much success. And I wish you so much happiness. And I wish you so much peace of mind and contentment. Contentment is the name of the game for me. Above all else, above happiness, it's sobriety and contentment. Being able to look myself in the mirror at night and say, I love you, I'm proud of the way you are, and I'm proud of the person you're becoming. I have that each and every day, and that's a blessing because I hated myself before. At least I thought I did, and I don't anymore. Like, I love me, and that's a cool thing, and it's worth fighting for, and it's worth holding on to. All right, adios, guys.